And hello and welcome to this episode of Avatar Face to Face. I'm your host, Jewel Kinch-Thomas, and it is wonderful to have you with us as always as we explore and find out about some of the wonderful arts and culture that is happening around Westchester and beyond. And today we have for our guest a young woman who has had several years in the arts as a director and producer. Her name is June Prager, and we want to welcome her to the show. June is the artistic director of Mirage Theater Company. June, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, so lovely to have you here. You and I go back a little ways, not particularly in your theater work,
Right.
but we've worked together in different ways when I was at Riverside Church.
Right.
Yeah. So it's wonderful to have you here talking about some of the other work that you do. Now, tell us a little bit about how you first got started in theater. Where did the bug
All
come from,
right.
as you put it
All
before?
right. I'll go back to the beginning, but I'll give you the road version
Okay.
really quick. I was going for my degree at Rutgers University in English literature,
Mm-hmm.
and I was having lonely, and I thought it would be fun to join the drama group
Uh-huh.
and just volunteer to do whatever they needed, so I could be around people.
Okay.
And so I did lighting design, not lighting design, sorry, lighting,
Okay.
ran the lights. And they needed a sofa to be reupholstered. So they asked me to do that, and I had no knowledge of that kind of work. But
Mm.
I reupholstered it, and then apparently I did it backwards. So
Okay.
at midnight, I was there
Uh-huh.
redoing the whole thing when the head of the department came by and said, "I want you to read for me," and handed me a script right then
Okay.
and there. And I read for him, and he cast me as the maid in the Ionesco as the bald soprano. And
Right.
once I heard the audience laughing and I
Mhm.
was on stage, that was it.
That
It
was
was just
it.
such a thrill.
Okay.
However, in later years, I decided acting was too difficult. Being
Mm.
right there in front of everyone, for me, it was too difficult. And I also always had ideas how it could be better that way or this way.
Okay.
So I decided I wanted to be a director. I wanted to
Uh-huh.
follow that.
Okay.
So
All right.
that's what I did in New
So,
York City. I
okay.
studied,
You studied in New York.
right?
Okay. And you studied with.
Well, I studied with Sonia Moore, George Morrison,
Mm-hmm.
who had taught Dustin Hoffman and Gene Hackman,
Okay.
people like that. And I also attended the director's unit at the Actors Studio, at least when Lee Strasberg was still running it.
Okay.
And I was the only woman in that unit. There were about
Ah.
30 men, I don't know
Wow.
exactly, and myself. Right.
Okay.
In those days, women directors were not, the ilk. Now they
Right.
are, but they
Right.
weren't then.
Okay. How did you find that? What was the interaction like?
With the
And
men,
among all that,
uh,
yes,
well,
testosterone.
there wasn't any with them.
Okay.
Today, if I was in that situation, I would just walk up to whoever and I'd
Mhm.
introduce myself and make a connection. But I was too shy, so
Okay.
I went there, and I attended, but I didn't interact, and they didn't come to me either. So it
Mm.
was
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So you went
But
through
Lee
training.
Strasberg was brilliant, so it was
Oh,
wonderful to be there.
right. Okay. That's important.
Yeah,
So you went through your training,
right.
and what was your first foray into directing?
Oh, and I forgot an important part. William Ball, who later ran the San Francisco ACT company, was
Uh,
also one of my teachers.
okay.
And then I just started to freelance,
Uh-huh.
direct in many different theaters in the city.
Okay. All
Uh,
right.
I did old plays, new plays. I think I
Mhm.
focused mainly on new plays because in those days, people would say, if you want to get to Broadway, you have to direct a new play.
Mm.
So I did a lot of original work
Okay.
by playwrights.
All right.
And
Was that necessarily young playwrights or emerging, or?
they were pretty much, I guess you would call them emerging playwrights.
Okay.
Right. I did a lot of that work. But I really liked the old plays. I mean, I was a
Mm.
literature major. So
Ah.
later when I went for my master's, I majored in drama, literary uh, stuff. So
Okay.
I really gravitated toward that. But yeah, I always wanted to do both, new and old.
Okay. So, as a director, do you have a process that you can say, okay, this each time I approach a work, this is the way I handle it?
There are certain aspects that I repeat.
Hmm.
My relationship to the actors, giving them enough freedom to experiment
Okay,
rather than saying move here, move there right away, staging them.
right.
Is that just trying to watch how they work to
Hmm.
get my ideas. But actually, the reason it's so exciting, directing is exciting, is because every play is a new journey, a new
Okay,
adventure.
right,
I think if you approach them like it's all the same, it can get pretty boring.
right.
And every play has its own challenges. I
Hmm.
find I'm working on a play now on a scene that I've never directed a scene like that before, and it's difficult.
Okay,
But in a way, that's a good thing. Um, so yeah, every play is different, and I have to do research.
right.
And
Is there any aspect of it that is more challenging than another, or any particular aspect that you love more than others?
well, I love experimenting
Okay.
and trying, whatever comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, at a certain point, you have to make decisions and select. And I think I heard this said by someone and I sort of adopted it, but you have to let go of the things you love. So you
Mm.
come up with something for the actors and you
Okay.
think it's so clever and inventive, and they do it well, but it doesn't really work for the play.
Uh-huh.
And you have to,
Is
it's
it
like
is it
you have to
easy
let
to,
it
to
go.
let it go at that
No,
point?
it's not easy.
It's,
No, you're very
you
possessive.
struggle,
No,
right?
because I feel because after all, we directors, we work with the written text.
Mm-hmm.
Without the writer, there would be nothing.
Right.
But we want to be more than just interpreters. We want to be creative in our own right.
Okay.
So you do want to create, and very often, what I do love is creating behavior for the actors that isn't in the text. It's suggested by it. There are
Mm-hmm.
clues, but
Okay.
it's not out there. You have to really create it, develop
Okay.
it with them.
Uh-huh.
That's the part that I really love because that's when I feel the most creative.
Okay.
But
Oh,
just like children, when they grow up, you have to let go.
let go at some point.
Yeah,
Yes.
even the ones you love.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So then, did you at some point you started your own company?
Yes.
Okay.
What happened was I was doing a lot of New York stuff, and I was asked to become the artistic director of the Hedgerow Theater, which
Okay.
was right outside of Philadelphia. So I went over there, took that over for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and then I like doing American work, but I really gravitated toward foreign plays. I was born in Europe, and I think I still feel very much a European.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to do plays by playwrights from all over the world.
Mm.
And I did a South African play, Panorama, by Peter Dirk Ace,
Okay.
at the Philadelphia Community College for them. And this was before apartheid went down.
Mm-hmm.
I did that play, and for some reason, it was luckily for me, the executive director of the Walnut Street Theater, which is the biggest theater in Philadelphia,
Right.
came to see it and called me, and he had a small 100-seat black box,
Uh-huh.
where he rented out, or they did whatever, small things. And he offered it to me free of charge to
Hmm.
do whatever plays I wanted to do. I told him I wanted to do an international repertoire,
Okay.
and he was fine with that. And my partner and I formed Theater International Exchange,
Mm-hmm.
and we launched it there at the Walnut Street.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. So what type of international plays, yes.
Well, the
What type
mission,
of plays and
yeah,
yes.
the
Well,
mission was very specific, and it made funders a little nervous to begin with. The mission was to do plays by foreign playwrights
mm-hmm.
about political and social issues.
Oh,
Yes.
well, yes.
So I would sit with, I remember the gentleman from Arco Chemical or Philadelphia National Bank.
Mm-hmm.
They supported us, but they say political. What do you mean by political?
Yeah.
So with a capital P, not Democrat or Republican.
Or
It's
or
the
but
larger
just
picture,
right.
right? And
Okay.
those are the kinds of plays that we did.
Hmm. Okay.
Right.
And how
Yeah.
what was the response? You got a little nervous from the supporters or the funders,
Right.
but on the audience side.
Well, the audience side and the reviews were very good. I
Okay.
have reviews in the Philadelphia think it was called the Inquirer, right, the major paper. The audience was small.
Mm-hmm.
We never filled up, but we had sizable, and of course um, it takes time to get an audience
To
going.
build, absolutely.
And also,
Yeah.
most people want to see, because Broadway attests it. They want to
Mm.
see musicals. They want to see comedies. And
Okay.
plays about political, social issues were rarely that funny.
That's
So
a very
and humorous.
targeted and
Yes,
focused
it was a little
audience.
too
Yeah.
targeted in retrospect.
Okay.
Right,
All
but
right.
that's what it was.
Wonderful.
We did that for 7 years.
Wonderful. Well, you know that that would be something close to my heart
Yes,
because of the work that
social
we've done together,
work.
and absolutely social issues and social concerns. Something that I always felt that art can speak to very powerfully, and can also carry a certain message, you
Right,
know, or if it's not a message, just to educate or
right.
give people more to work with in terms of, their thoughts, their opinions. It just
That's right.
it helps. I think it helps moves us forward.
Yes, absolutely.
You
I
know.
believe in that.
Yeah.
Totally.
Oh,
Otherwise, I think I would get tired of, I have a lot of credits on my resume, and I
yeah.
just get tired just doing just plays just to do them.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So then, after Theater International Exchange, did you move on then to Mirage, or that?
Not right
Am I
away.
jumping too far?
We had a short little hiatus there.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't that short. It was about 9 years, actually. My husband wanted to move out west,
Okay.
so we moved to Seattle. And I didn't want to start a company, so I didn't. But I
Mhm.
just did freelance directing work out
Okay.
there. I did different plays, and it's in Seattle I first became very aware of the Native American community too.
Ah.
I was there,
Okay.
which, which now is the basis of one of our projects. But then nobody followed us to Seattle. We thought our family would follow, and they didn't. So after 9 years, we came back east.
Okay. All right.
And I met Miranda Dancona and Doris Kaufman,
Mhm.
who had the Mirage Theater Company. They had it for about 20 years.
Okay.
They were in residence at the Perry Street Theater, and they asked me to be their associate artistic director.
Mm. Okay.
So that's what I did, and to help them with their projects.
Right.
And then in 2010, Miranda passed away. And Doris didn't really want to continue it kind of on her own. She'd be
Mhm.
on the board, but she didn't want to move it forward.
Right.
So the board asked me if I would take over.
Mm.
So I had to think about it. A
Yeah.
nonprofit with no money,
There you go.
but I thought,
Well,
hey,
talk about a challenge.
there's
Yeah.
a challenge. And I
Okay.
thought, oh, well, it's a nonprofit. That's a good thing.
Right.
It's harder to get projects off the ground if you're just on your own.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I said yes. And that's when I started looking at Mirage Theater Company and
Hmm.
deciding what the mission should be and developing a board and
Okay.
all that.
All right. So that was 2010. So what is
late
the mission?
2010, October.
Okay.
Well, so now the mission, in a nutshell, would be that we Mirage creates, produces, and tours an international repertoire
Okay.
of new plays and revivals.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But-
So hearkening back to the international company that you had
Right.
in the beginning. All right.
But not
Wonderful.
making it so, focused,
Mhm.
because that makes it difficult
Right.
plays. But still, I believe in what you were talking about in what we call creative change,
Mm-hmm.
where the plays can celebrate cultural differences. They can affect some social change. You
Okay.
hope that they will.
Okay.
At least you can uplift people's spirits, which I
Right.
think is an important thing to do.
Right. So that's the criteria that you use in your selection?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
All right.
absolutely.
Wonderful. So let's talk a little bit about the projects that Mirage is currently involved in. So we have, and the one that I'm the most familiar with is Cedars,
Right.
because I know that you had shared that with me some months ago, and perhaps if I were in a position of still producing,
Yes.
that might be one that I would look at.
Well,
Tell
you
us a
can think
little
about
bit
that.
about, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Tell us a little bit about Cedars.
Cedars is about the Native American experience now in contemporary life,
Okay.
and the struggle that very obviously they would have in holding on to heritage, holding on to culture, their
Mhm.
culture,
Okay.
and also participate in today's society.
Right.
That's what it's about.
Okay.
And it's based on the work of, now I have 9 Native American contemporary poets.
Okay.
So what I've done is taken that material and adapted it for a stage piece with music by a Native American composer,
Mm.
Charles Upham,
Okay.
and masks, which were designed by a Native American designer. And we have done stage readings of it. We had a residency at Vassar College, a
Mm-hmm.
brief residency. Then we followed that with stage readings in New York at the Living Theater and La Mama. And this was
Okay.
as recently as February.
Okay.
And La Mama has expressed an interest in producing it in 2015.
Mm.
They are booked for 2014.
Right.
However, I think it's a good idea because what I'd really like to do is tour it
Mm-hmm.
before
Before
doing it.
actual full out production.
Exactly.
Okay. All
Run.
right.
And it's a wonderful piece to tour to colleges, for students. I don't think, and everybody else, I don't think people are really that aware about the Native American experience
What are
today.
some of the issues that the play brings out? Because this is, we should let folks know that this is the entire cast is Native American.
Oh, yes,
Is that
yes,
okay?
they are. There are 5 actors, and they're all
Okay.
Native American, from different tribes. Um, well, one of the issues, the one I mentioned, is the issue of heritage and culture.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, the reservations still exist.
Right.
Now, one of our poets actually is living on a reservation, even now. He was living in Seattle, and he moved back to the reservation.
Ah.
And one of the issues is we have a scene where they go back to a reservation, is connecting with that, at least if not living there permanently, connecting with people who still live there. Sometimes, even their relatives are still there.
Right.
Grandparents might be there. And so going there, and then, there are different rituals. There's a sweat lodge and storytelling and drumming and that kind of thing. So that's
Okay.
one thing. Trying to hold on to that, which is difficult,
Yes.
to really make it part of your life. Then when you're back in the city,
Right.
where they feel, another one is the issue of invisibility.
Mm.
They don't feel that they're really that present and visible, in a full, in-depth sense
Right.
to the
Okay.
rest of us,
Okay.
the rest of the population.
Okay.
Working in, say, in technology, getting on top of that. Another issue is alcoholism, which is kind of a problem in the Native American community.
Right. Yes. Yes. We I think are aware on for most of us probably on just the surface level of what those issues are and how a population like that is impacted,
Right.
and how they can navigate, in this century with everything that, they have to deal with
Right.
in order to be, you know, considered significant citizens and part of
Exactly.
communities.
And I think the poets have been able to go to a deeper level and
Okay.
really, express the emotions that are felt.
All right.
Struggle.
Well, I think you brought us a clip of
Yes.
Cedars,
Yes.
so that we can show our audience a little bit about what that play looks like, and perhaps
Right.
entice some folks to go see it the next time it's in production.
Yes, I
So we'll
hope
take
so.
a look at that now.
All right.
Okay, great.
Okay.
But bro, I say, not proud, not wise, just reality and human size from the beat of the street, not the drum. We are the skins that drink in the ditch. We are the skins that fill the tanks, jails, wards, cells. We are the skins that spare change, bottle baggy. We are the Lou Reed skins, the funky skins, the cowboy skins. We are the ghosts of Seattle, homeless walking urban spirits. We're the frozen dead of Bigfoot's band. We're burning cornfields, burned down boarding schools, trashed BIE toilets, government trailer trash, broken glass, broken treaties. You mean you still believe in treaties?
I was particularly excited about Cedars because June Prager has made selections for the show from two of Amarinda's creative nonfiction anthologies, Genocide of the Mind and Sovereign Bones. And both books feature the work of over 33 native writers, new writing. And I was very excited that June had made selections in addition to the ones that she had made prior to that.
Won't you buy me a collar?
Hey,
Whoa! Hey, we got
Why
collar.
don't you leave them alone? They're not bothering anybody. I sure do hate mean people.
She did put out a casting call, a second casting call, and it was here downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
She's made tremendous efforts to be very inclusive.
I'm Wolfen DeCastro. It's been a great thrill for me to be inducted into the cast of Cedars. There's very little work for Native American actors, and it's wonderful to have a chance at something that expresses my background and gives me an opportunity to act.
$7,800 over here in the court. Look at it. Yeah, look at it shine. Get your money out. You got it. Yeah, what do we have here? We have a Dodge Dakota. Yeah, Dodge Dakota. There it is. Bright red. Hurry on this one. This won't last. It won't last on this one. Now get your casino money out. Get it out, because here it is. The one you've been waiting for all day long.
The emotion is readily accessible. I mean, I understand the feelings of every character in there. So, I mean, I love it. It's definitely something I can work with.
We are Blackfeet, Winterboy, Lakota, Macaw, Ojibwe. We are!
So that was a small clip from Cedars. Now, before we move on to some of your other projects, I'd love you to tell us who you're partnering with to bring this onto the stage.
Right. We're collaborating with Amarinda, which is American Indian Artists,
Okay.
an organization in New York City, and they're one of our associate producers. And Red Eagle Soaring, they're out in Seattle, but they're the ones that I first developed this piece. Began this piece with when I was in Seattle.
Okay.
And they're wonderful because they're helping us reach out to the Native American community. Okay. But we also need to reach out to, it could be other partner organizations, to funding sources like corporate, foundation, individual, because we are ready to put this play into rehearsal and get it ready for touring.
Okay.
So that's our next
if
step.
there are folks out there who may be interested in a work like this and want to help support, how could they reach out and contact you?
Well, we have the website,
Yes.
which is miragetheatercompany.org.
Okay.
And my email is June Prager,
Let's spell that out.
Prager
Okay.
.mirage@gmail.com.
June Prager .mirage@gmail.
Right.
Okay, so if anyone is interested, absolutely reach
that'd
out
be
to June
great.
and can get some more information and find out about how you can support a work as significant as this. So June, you have a couple of other projects you want to let us know about before we have to close out today.
All right.
One of them is Distant Survivors.
Right.
Okay.
That play is based on the poetry written by William Hyan. He is professor of English and poet in residence emeritus at SUNY Brockport, New York. And he's written several volumes of poetry about the Holocaust. He's a descendant of two uncles who were Nazis.
Oh.
And I think, so he has dedicated a good portion of his life in dealing with this issue of, who am I? How can human beings perpetrate atrocity? And I feel that in terms of the Holocaust, there can never be enough plays
Okay.
or any other art form about the Holocaust. Never be enough, because we're still dealing with racial hatred
Mm-hmm.
all over the world.
Yes.
And so the play is rooted in the Holocaust, but it deals with this issue of racial hatred, which is why it's important. And that, like Cedars, to me, I want to get it out there, tour it again to colleges,
Okay.
organizations. And that one, too, we've had stage readings in New York City
Right.
and in the Mid-Hudson Valley. And that's ready also to be
Okay.
put into
Full
rehearsal.
production.
Into full
On the
production.
stage. Okay.
Right.
So that's Distant Survivors.
Right.
You have two others, Sea Marks and Broken Dolls.
Right.
Yeah, so talk to us about
Sea
Sea
Marks
Marks.
is the only comedy in the lot.
All of that
Every-
intensity,
yes,
and
yeah.
now take a little break with a comedy. Okay.
Right. But it has to do with, questioning the quality of our life. This is a romance between an Irish fisherman in the Aran Islands and an English woman. Actually, she's from Wales, but she's living in Liverpool, England. And this is before email, before cell phones, Match.com, etc., and so
Okay.
forth. And this is slow mail and a slow courtship.
Ah, wonderful.
And when I said there was a challenge, the play begins with the first scene with them writing letters to each other.
Okay.
This is a difficult thing to stage.
Love letters.
But love letters.
Oh, the time when.
Yes, love when people actually wrote.
Wrote out
Right.
their feelings.
So that's Sea Marks.
Wonderful. And Broken Dolls.
Broken Dolls. All right. Now, Broken Dolls is just beginning, really, in its development. I did do a little bit of work on this piece when I was in Seattle with a choreographer colleague, and we only came up with about a half an hour of material. So I wanted to pick it up again. This is about women as victims of rape during wartime.
Wow.
It covers Bosnia, Croatia, Kosovo, China, and Rwanda,
Wow.
based on actual testimony.
Wow.
And human trafficking,
Okay.
which is also systemic rape of women. That's
You
what this
have
one is about.
some incredible projects coming down the pike, some that you are ready to just take the stage, and some that you're going to be putting into that effect. But we want folks to know that this is Mirage Theater Company.
Right.
This is June Prager, the artistic director. And if you want more information, it's Mirage Theater. The website?
MirageTheaterCompany.org.
Okay. Thank you so much, June. It's
You're
been a
welcome.
pleasure to have you
Same
today.
here.
And thank you again for visiting us on Avitar Face to Face. We'll see you the next time.